Welcome to the History, Law, and Justice Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Buckner, a lawyer and amateur historian. I will explore with you legal issues affecting governance, society, and culture of the United States and other civilizations, both past and present, using history as my guide. Before we begin the episode, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you're invited to share your thoughts on today's topic or anything dealing with history and the law in the comment sections below or on our social media platforms. On May 7th, 2020, the United States Department of Justice filed a motion in federal court seeking to dismiss a criminal case against former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. That filing sparked my curiosity as to which government agency was in charge of criminal investigations for the Justice Department prior to the 1908 creation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, otherwise known as the FBI. In today's episode, we explore how the Justice Department investigated allegations of criminal wrongdoing in the 19th century and the early 1900s. Prior to the 1908 founding of what is now known as the FBI, the Justice Department did not possess its own force of investigators to collect evidence. Instead, the agency used personnel on loan from the United States Secret Service, as well as private detectives, to investigate wrongdoing. For example, in 1904, Secret Service agents on assignment to the Justice Department obtained evidence that led to the conviction of several individuals, including then U.S. Senator John H. Mitchell of Oregon, for the fraudulent acquisition of timberlands in the state from the public domain. By 1906, 60 Secret Service agents were needed to assist the Justice Department with its work, and in 1907, the Department of Justice needed 65 persons. The investigators assisting the Justice Department came from various sources, including an approximate 20-person reserve force set up by the Secret Service to help other departments, and 300 investigators who had applied for Secret Service positions and previously had been vetted by the Department of the Treasury. The Justice Department also relied on the resources of private agencies, including the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. The Pinkerton Agency was initially known in the late 1850s for hunting down outlaws and providing private security for railroad companies. The agency's government work was nothing new. For example, during the American Civil War, the agency's founder, Allen Pinkerton, organized a secret intelligence service for Union General George B. McClellan. Pinkerton set up spy rings behind enemy lines and infiltrated Southern sympathizer groups in the North. The agency also contributed to contemporary and future law enforcement agencies with the development of one of the world's first criminal databases. This database was known as the Rogues Gallery, and it was a collection of mugshots and case histories of men wanted by the agency. This gallery also included a person's distinguishing marks and scars, as well as newspaper clippings, arrest records, known associates, and areas of expertise. This gallery is so far ahead of its time that a more sophisticated criminal library system was not developed until the FBI's creation in the 20th century. Despite the availability of Secret Service agents and private investigative agencies, the need for an investigative unit within the Justice Department became apparent during the administration of President Theodore Roosevelt. The Roosevelt administration began the stringent enforcement of existing and new laws. The new Attorney General, Charles Bonaparte, saw that need, as well as the issue of barring Secret Service agents. That practice of loaning agents from Secret Service to the Justice Department also became the target of congressional investigation. Congress eventually barred the Justice Department from continuing that practice. As a result, in 1908, Bonaparte began forming a small cadre of investigators within the Justice Department. Later, on July 26, 1908, Bonaparte issued a memorandum describing a regular force of special agents that were available to Justice Department attorneys to investigate certain cases for the department. That memo is celebrated as the official birth of the FBI. You're just listening to the History, Law, and Justice podcast with your host, Michael Buckner. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or feedback on this episode, Michael's contact information is included in the description box. Citations to sources used to prepare this episode are also listed in the description box. Finally, don't forget to click on the link to subscribe to receive the next episode of this podcast. Remember to let history serve as your roadmap for future success.